Okay, go.
Good morning, my name is Lina Hernan. I study chemical engineer, and today I'm going to talk about hydrogen fuel cells. So in this exposition, I want to show you something about the problem we have, something about fuel and how this became a problem to our society, how hydrogen fuel cells work and how it can be a solution, some problems of this solution, and finally I want to give you a conclusion. So, energy for humans is necessary in every aspect of our lives. Energy is needed for breathing, eating, but in a more general sense, in society, energy is needed for transportation and production. So, energy is needed for our world. You came this morning in a bus that needs energy. And the problem of this is that 83% of this energy came from non-renewable resources, such as petroleum, coal, or natural gas. The big problem of these resources is basically divided in two. The first one is that these resources have been deployed. They are limited. And the second one is that with these resources, we have contaminated our world. So, the first problem I want to show you is that the use of petroleum, natural gas, and coal have the combustion of these materials produces CO2. That is the first greenhouse effect gas that contributes to this big problem. Here you can see that most of all cars use gasoline to mobilize, and industries also uses tons and tons of petroleum and coal to produce everything. So this is the first big problem. The next problem, here we have studies about how many CO2 has been produced and has contributed to the house green effect through the years. We have seen that it's increasing. Everybody knows that this have an annual cycle, but this cycle is increasing, so it's a little bit concerning. The next problem is the extraction of petroleum. Many of you have heard about the BP spill on Mexico's Gulf in 2010. It didn't prejudicate or hurt people. 11 people died in that accident because it was an explosion that released more than 2 million gallons of petroleum, of oil, in the sea. Many animals also feel that big contamination problem. About 3 years or 2 years later, this problem, we can still see it because oil doesn't dilute in water, and it's a big problem and it contaminates a lot. For that reason, the BP, the only problem that it has is that BP had to pay $4,500 millions. That was the unique thing that they had to do, so it's very concerning. Some solutions that have been planned and have been think for this was the development of a new diesel, the biodiesel, but it also is not so good because in first place it doesn't work in every climate. It gels in the cold, so it affects the machines and the engines of the cars. The second problem is that it uses a lot of food that can be for human consume to produce biodiesel. And the third problem is that it's too expensive and it has a lot of waste. that are not usable, like glycerin. Producing like 1 kilogram or 1 liter of biodiesel requires or produces a waste of 3 times that of glycerin. It's a lot of waste that can be used in a lot of things. So, through many researches and since the 19th century, it has been developed and has been named the hydrogen fuel cell. This is an electromechanic dispositive that converts chemical to electric energy by the electrolysis of water. The only thing it needs, this is very much like a common battery, but the thing is that it has not to be recharged because it consumes water and produces water, so it's very good. Here are the reactions that happens there and where the energy comes. The energy comes from here, from the hydrogen. The hydrogen splits and releases 2 electrons. That this means energy. So here you can see how does it work. Yes, you see that hydrogen comes from here, it splits, it releases energy that can be used, and then it gives water. So if you put this dispositive joined to a electrolyzer that divides this water again to hydrogen and oxygen, then you have an excellent device. Well, it can be so good because nowadays we should everything use this. So, well, there must be some problems. The first problem is that developing and producing these cells is expensive. In 2002, the price of developing 1 hydrogen cell was 850 euros. In 2007, it had increased because it had been developed a lot of new catalyzers that help this process to happen faster. The second big problem is that the cells doesn't work in a huge range of temperature. They have to be a temperature control system because it will damage. And the third one, and the biggest problem, is that the hydrogen storage is very difficult and very expensive because it's a very tiny gas that it's so difficult to storage and to manipulate, so it's a big problem. But there are many things that have been developed. As a conclusion, I want you to think and to read these phrases for very important people, and to think, what can you do to help our world? How, in everything you have learned, how can you help the world? Yes, I know we are human and we make a lot of mistakes, but you can do something to solve it and to make this a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a question? And then while she is taking a question, who's next again? Felipe, right? You're next, right? Okay, go ahead. Questions? Danila.
When you put the price of the cost of the hydrogen fuel cells, is the construction or is what price?
It's the final price.
Or
It includes the production and the catalysis that were used there. Now it has been developed and made a lot of catalysts that are not so expensive. So that is the increase of the price.
Okay, we're gonna have to. Sorry, we have to ask another time. We have to move on. Okay.